right. Welcome, everybody. Find a really comfortable seat. And that might mean a couple different things. So it might mean that you're comfortable self-supporting and you have a nice tall spine, that you're comfortably sitting up straight. Imagine feeling the energy coming up your front and down your back. Or if that's not quite comfortable, maybe scoot back in your chair and use a little bit of support on your lower back. However you're sitting, it should be um, a, a way that you are not feeling pain or discomfort, somewhere where you can be for a while and focus on the breath and focus on your body and not be distracted by any pain or anything. And then once you feel good, maybe you wiggle around, maybe you adjust, uncross your legs, or press your feet into the floor. And just feel, how does it feel to be in your body today? So, are there places where you're holding tension? Sometimes it's nice to bring the shoulders up and back and bring the shoulder blades down, because we can sometimes creep the shoulders up, and we have to invite them to be relaxed. Sometimes it's the head and neck that's stiff, so you might just do a few quick, um, a head roll in one direction and the other direction. And if you do find a place that's stiff, linger there for a moment, see if you can let it relax, and then carry on. And again, going in one direction and the other direction, that can just help figure out, okay, where am I stiff, where am I tight, and how can I breathe into those areas, especially if you're someone who is typing or driving or carrying things or otherwise leaning forward. We can often stoop forward, and what we really would love is to have the head over the spinal column, over the hips. Let your skeleton work for you, let your bones work for you, so your muscles don't have to do quite as much work. And then maybe you just shake it out, stomp the feet, roll the wrists, put a little bit of movement in your body first. So then once we settle to do some breathing and do some meditation, you really feel like that's good, like that's okay. Like I'm ready to be quiet. My body's ready to be still. And once you've reached that point, you can close your eyes if you like. Or you can simply lower your gaze. You can focus on one point. You find a drishti or a little speck of something, just so that we can shut out some of the outside distraction and see what it feels like to live in this body today, and just being non-judgmental, being curious, scanning from head to toe, letting go of any constriction or contraction. And if that's tough to do, sometimes actually adding a bit of constriction and then releasing it can help us feel more relaxed. So making fists and making the arms really tight and then letting it all go sometimes can help bring relaxation. Or really like scrunching the toes and pressing into the feet and making the leg muscles engage, and then relaxing completely. You can feel that opposite effect of what does it feel like to have some tension, and then what does it feel like to have that release. And then I'll invite you to come to the breath. Just observing where it is. No need to change it right now. We'll just make some observations. Where do you feel the breath in your body? Is it coming through your nose or through your mouth? Is it in your chest? Sometimes you can put the hand on the chest to feel the chest rise on the inhale and sink on the exhale. And then invite the inhales to deepen and the exhales to lengthen, taking in a tiny bit more air and letting that air out slowly. And remembering that our lungs are 360 degrees, breathing into our front ribs, breathing into side ribs, and breathing into your back. Feeling the lungs expand on every inhale and contract on every exhale. And invite the breath down into the belly, engaging with the diaphragm, letting the belly swell on the inhale and letting it sink on the exhale. The diaphragm helps draw more air into the deepest part of the lungs. And then using the abdominals, you can slowly breathe out all of the old air, making room for the next breath. And then keeping these long, slow, full breaths, let them continue as you focus on the tailbone. Maybe very slowly tip the pelvis in one direction and then the other direction, tipping forward and back. Maybe you connect this to the breath, inhaling and exhaling like tiny little baby cat cows, just the pelvis tilt. And then coming into some stillness, focusing on that root chakra, rooting the hips into the seat. Maybe you engage the pelvic floor by imagining scooping up into the belly, lifting from the root, making sure to still breathe, feeling both grounded and light so that you can root down into your seat, into the feet, and that the head can rise up towards the ceiling, giving your sense of expansion coming from this place of groundedness, of rootedness. And then moving up just below the navel, still engaging with those big belly breaths. And exhaling, really using the abs to push out all of the air. Our gut or our intuition, or what we can say is maybe our sixth sense, is here. And when we pay attention, we can be more aligned with what we know is right, what we want to do. And then moving up into the solar plexus, that area just beneath the rib cage, where those diaphragm muscles come and pull the lungs down and help us bring more air in, putting our focus right on that solar plexus. Maybe imagining an expansion from this area as we take some of the deepest breaths of the day and let them out fully, and then let the air out again. You think you're done, and then see if there's a little more exhale. Moving into the heart center. Can you get quiet enough to feel your heartbeat? Can you focus on the heart, on its very important job of pumping oxygenated blood all through every cell in your body, and bringing the depleted blood back to be refilled with oxygen? Blood carries all our nutrients. From the heart to every extremity, to our little toes, to the tips of the fingers. Ask your heart what it wants. And then see if you can conjure that mindset. Emotions work both ways, where sometimes we see an external stimulus and it triggers an emotion within us. We can also use an internal stimulus, our thoughts, our memories, the things that already live in the recesses of our brain, and we can conjure the emotions that way. Emotions are, in a physiological sense, the hormones and the messages that are sent from the brain throughout the body. And we can turn those on just by the thoughts that we have, which is pretty incredible. And then move your attention up to the neck, to the throat. Deliberately swallow. Feel the muscles engage. Maybe swallow again. And if you want, you can practice cultivating an ujjayi breath, a whisper breath, the breath of the ocean, by slightly constricting the muscles in the throat. And hearing and feeling that air and the tightened passage coming in and out through the nose. And then moving up to the third eye, the space in your forehead between the eyes, and then move it back a little bit into the center of your skull. Where is that in space? How much room does your head take up? What's going on inside your brain? Can you calm it down? The thoughts will arise, they do arise, that's normal, that's natural. Our job is simply to not engage, thanking the thoughts for coming and telling them that you'll contemplate them later. Letting the mind rest, focusing on the breath, every single moment, this moment, and this moment, and this moment, so that we're more connected to the now, so that we're more connected to our bodies. This mind-body connection, we spend a lot of time in our head. But we are an amazing organism. And what we think impacts how we feel, and how we feel impacts what we think. And so the more in sync we can get our mind with our body, the more calm we'll be, the more our parasympathetic nervous system can engage, that rest and digest, that sense of peace, of tranquility, of alignment. And the closer we get to our very best, highest self. So bring your attention to just above the skull, the crown of the head. Can you feel the energy that surrounds you? Can you feel or visualize your own electromagnetic field? The waves that signify that we're a living, breathing being. And then, if you like, we'll go back through each energy center with its associated color. And we'll start with this ultraviolet, this brilliant, almost purple white light emanating from the crown of the head. Let it cover you, let it protect you. Feel its energy. Let it grow from the crown of the head, so big that it covers your extremities, your fingers, your toes, your whole body. And then move your focus back to the third eye. Let the color shift to an indigo, a deep purple color. Letting this color protect you, envelop you, bring you wisdom. And then bringing the attention to the throat. And letting that color shift to blue, a brilliant blue, allowing you to speak your truth, be understood, to communicate with others, to express your needs. And let that blue color engulf you and protect you. And then moving the attention back to the heart space, and allow that blue to shift to green, and allowing those positive emotions, that connection, those feelings of joy, of happiness, of bliss. And then moving down to the solar plexus, and a shift from green to yellow, a beautiful radiant yellow color. Let that engulf you, pulsating and protecting you. And then move the attention just below the navel. Let the color shift from yellow to orange. Allow this center to grow and glow and protect both your physical body, but also all of your thoughts, your feelings. And finally, to the root, let the color shift to red. Feeling your feet and your hips, giving you a strong base. And then we'll breathe from the root to the crown. And exhale from the crown to the root. Inhaling up your spine, through your skull. And exhaling from the top of your head down to your sits bones. Passing through each of these energy centers, offering their healing, their support. And then when you're ready, letting go of that visualization and slowly bringing the tiniest bits of movement to your extremities, maybe a little wiggle of the fingers or slight movement in the toes. Bowing the head if that feels good, or putting a tiny bit of movement into the shoulders and the hips. Slowly letting the outside world come back into focus. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.